Hello and welcome to the Pomcast, the egotistical name that I could not find a better replacement for. Yes, I'm here to talk about Bookworm and Kumo Desu Nani ka. Why two isekai? The thing about isekai is that above other anime-related media, I feel a compulsion to look for new good isekai and talk about them, mostly because I'm a stupid contrarian, you know? If it's been talked about by everyone already, why talk about it? Why keep talking about it? Like, yes, Eva is one of the best shows ever made, but since it's been talked to death, I'm not as interested in it, you know? But isekai is currently top one hated genre in anime, so I wouldn't say that it's the most respected genre right now. That's part of it, but the biggest part of the reason why I like isekai, or really I hate most isekai, it's the genre I love and hate the most, because it has so much trash in it. But anyways, as I said, relatively new genre, unexplored, not respected, so might as well dig up the good stuff, right? But the real reason is that I love Lord of the Rings. I have loved it since I was a kid, and so I love high fantasy. And I love anime, I love high fantasy, therefore when most high fantasy is isekai, I will watch isekai. And I do like good stuff, and inevitably there are some good isekai. And the reason why, the third reason is that it's just my stat alignment ended up being very isekai centric, because before I really appreciated anime as much as I do now as an art form, I was in my late teenage years. I was just watching, your fairy tales and Sword Art Onlines, having fun, not knowing whatever the hell I was watching. And I just happened to read some series. Happened randomly. I think I read some manga, and then accidentally started reading some web novels. The web novels I read were Shield Hero, which I dropped, Arifureta, which I dropped, Re-Monster, which I also dropped, and then there's the two, which I did not drop. Tensei Shitara Slime Datta Ken. It was something I loved in 2016 when I was... How old was I? 17 years old? Yeah, a teenager, a stupid teenager. Though I suppose some people would be more mature than me at that age, but, I was still a stupid teenager at that age. And the other one is Mushoku Tensei Isekai Ittara Honki Dasu. That one's probably the most important reason why I still care about anime-related media as much as I do today. Yeah, Mushoku Tensei. It is still my favorite thing ever, so... I reread it and actually finished it in early 2020. And it kind of opened my pores. In Hunter x Hunter, the glasses dude opens Gon and Killua's pores, now they start seeing Nen and everything. They see the whole world differently. That's when I read Mushoku Tensei, finished it. That's how it felt to me. It's like I started seeing anime and stuff as art. I started appreciating the stuff as art, and I loved anime more than I ever had. So basically, I owe everything related to anime to isekai, and Mushoku Tensei in particular. So that's probably the biggest reason why I love isekai. But also, when I look at manga sites and see that half the entries are some isekai or some not okay, which is well, let's not get into that right now. But basically, isekai appeal series, I start groaning because I mean, trash is trash, I can't defend it. Isekai probably has the lowest ratio of good to bad series from any genre. Though that's probably not Isekai's itself's fault, but fault of web novels sites that gained popularity, for better or worse. Mushoku Tensei was from Shousetsu Kaninaro, and most of the actually great isekai are from there as well. So, I'd rather have Shousetsu be around than not, I suppose. Though, all the good series came out in the first half of the 2010s, and after that it's been all trash. But yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, that's my isekai. That is what I think about isekai over here. I'm a fantasy and anime nerd, and Mushoku Tensei is the most important series to me of all time. And because I have read Mushoku Tensei and kept my interest in isekai, I have found these two other series that come at least close to Mushoku Tensei, or at least one of them comes close. The other one, not quite, but this is what validates my staying interest in isekai. Sorry, I hit the mic stand there. I will be talking about all three versions of the series, which are the anime, the manga, and novel, in that order, since I've gone through them all, and it's a pretty good way to maximize the variety and quantity of things I have to say about them without having to rely on any script. So I do have some bullet points on a like a Google Docs thing, but it's mostly unscripted. Though I do think I still had some pretty good stuff to say. If I scripted the stuff, it would just be more concise, but mostly all the ideas I have, they usually come when I am going through the series normally. So, yeah, the analysis is pretty geared towards narrative, because it's usually what I'm the most interested in. It's why I usually end up liking novels quite a bit, because they are just like pure, uncondensed narrative and quality stuff. So, yeah, that's about it. Let us get into it. I am currently drinking cold coffee because, I don't care. Yes, indeed. Bookworm! Bookworm! I love Bookworm. Wonderful. It's the one series that I might actually end up liking more than Mushoku Tensei, because I believe that it is of a higher standard on average than that series. But the thing that sort of makes it arguable either way is that I've only still read 13 volumes of the light novel. Wait, that's the wrong way. Yes, there. I'm sort of scoring this light novel entry on Mal as based on the web novel, because of how, well, I wouldn't call it unchanged, but how the broad strokes of the series are almost identical to the web novel. And I feel confident that this number here and this part here still applies to the light novel, because the light novel is actually even better than the web novel. But the thing about the light novel is that I've only read half of the total 25 here. But I've completed the web novel version, so compared to that, Bookworm here, I have only read 1/3 of the series, because I assume it's gonna be 36 volumes in total, because from, I think, J Novel Club is the the translation company or whatever it's called that translates a sentence of a bookworm officially. And I think I read on one of the forums that the web novel originally had like 35 or 36 volumes. So, yeah, it's gonna be pretty long, and I like it almost equally as Mushoku Tensei over here, even though it's only 1/3 through. So, unless it goes massively downhill for some reason, which it probably will not because the web novel of it is finished, it's gonna end up being the better of these two, as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't say that it's a night and day difference between the writing quality, but if Mushoku Tensei is like a tentpole story structure thing, Honzuki is like a stalwart, a juggernaut of writing quality. Mushoku Tensei is the reason why it is so good are the peaks, not how consistent it is. Though it is of a higher consistency than basically anything except Bookworm here. Because, you know, if it wasn't consistent, it wouldn't be a 10. But compared to Bookworm, it is not as high standard. Though that's my web novel version bias, probably speaking partially. Maybe I'll have a different opinion by the time the final volume is translated to English. But anyways, I was supposed to be talking about Bookworm, but whatever. Yeah, so yeah, Bookworm here. Where was I? I forgot. Yeah, it's only a 1/3 through, and it's already done so many different things as a novel that there's a big competition between these two going in my head. But let's start with the anime impressions. It's probably one of the better, or the best adaptation actually, of a light novel that I am aware of. Usually light novel adaptations, especially isekai ones, are pretty, they compromise a little too much and basically never reach the heights of the source material itself. Even the first season of Mushoku Tensei is one example of it here. It looks great, looks amazing at parts. In the TV version there were some ups and downs. Some stuff didn't look so great, but they're apparently fixing a lot of the stuff up with, or maybe not fixing stuff up, but they're at least adding some things in the Blu-ray, so yeah, it looks better than Bookworm by a long shot. It has Sakuga and so on, but still, with Bookworm, this anime does skip stuff too, but I think its emotional core is more undiminished from the novel compared to Mushoku Tensei over here. Where was I at? I sort of started mumbling and losing the track of where I was going with that, so let's try again. So, the emotional core of Bookworm is more undiminished than Mushoku Tensei over here, because Bookworm does a smarter job at cutting stuff out. Mushoku Tensei is sort of it's like squeezing the content tighter. How, you know, there's information loss, but in Bookworm there's stuff that is outright cut out, like Ben over here. This guy over here. His backstory is completely cut out because he is not the most important character in the long run, so the anime staff chose to focus on the characters that matter more here. That is smarter for something like Bookworm, where the volumes are like 400 to 500 pages long. In Mushoku Tensei, there's less of an excuse because they're only like 250 to 300 pages long, and yet it's still like an 11 episode season that could have, how would I say it? I would like to complain about Eris here. Her character development is pretty, diminished in the 3rd volume because it's an episode too short. Usually the standard for shortish light novels. The standard is 4 episodes per volume. This anime here did a good job until the third volume. I understand that they might have thought that the 3rd volume is not that relevant in the long run, because it kind of isn't. But this character here, this redhead over here, is a pretty important character, and a lot of her stuff gets cut out, and that is not very smart in the long run. I mean, the studio bind over here, I've heard from them that they plan to do the whole thing. Adapt the whole story. Well, whether it'll happen, who knows? Who knows? I hope it does. I think it... I don't know how accurate these some anything things are here. Some anything things over here are, but Mushoku Tensei has sold like 4,000. I'm not sure how often these get updated, but like I'm sort of confused by this status here, because I heard from them that they were gonna make enhanced Blu-rays in like October or something. But how does it already have Blu-ray sales if they're coming out later? I don't know, maybe they just have TV version DVDs or something, I don't know. This is supposed to be Blu-ray sales, but whatever. 4,000 sales, it's pretty good, I suppose. It's no slime, I suppose, but oh, the spin-off sold pretty well. It's no sinful. God damn it! Give me the first, not this one. Sinful Gear sold pretty well. This stuff. Look at this, 18,000. Now those are good sales. Mushoku Tensei, whether it'll be finished, I hope it will be. It should, because I don't know, this first season starts feeling like a waste of time if it never gets finished. But anyways, they've already sort of made a misstep with this character's development in adapting a light novel, which is something pretty common, sadly, and very common in isekai light novel adapting. But Bookworm, I was supposed to be talking about Bookworm, not Mushoku Tensei here. Yeah, I'm comparing the two. This Bookworm is a lot better planned for the long term. I doubt even more than Mushoku Tensei that this will get fully adapted, because as I mentioned before, oh, I got 2 tabs. As I mentioned before, it might have 36 volumes. And the rate at which Bookworm novels volumes are adapted is 2 per 12 episodes, which is like 50% more episodes per volume than Mushoku Tensei, which makes sense because Bookworm volumes are about 50% longer than Mushoku Tensei ones. So anyways, it's gonna need, divided by 2, this is 1 core, it's gonna need 80 cores. 18 seasons. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. But Mushoku Tensei, how many seasons would it have to be? Let's see, 25 volumes divided by 3, be like 8 seasons. That seems a lot more doable, doesn't it? Yeah. Bookworm. But nevertheless, it is better planned, this. I hope the 3rd season will be good. It's got a cover. Nice. Amazing. Fuck yeah. First time seeing this. Oh, this looks good. Ah, I love it. It's gonna be the best fucking season of Bookworm. The last 2 volumes of part 2 are amazing. Oh, and it's a pretty good part, or pretty good part to leave off. If the anime does not continue after this, it's still a pretty good ending for the anime. Yeah, Aikido, they're good. They're pretty competent. Studio Bind seems like the production of this show seemed kind of there's a lot of talent in it, but some of it are kind of unwieldy. Like the early backgrounds. Let's see. Why am I talking about Mushoku Tensei? This was supposed to be a Bookworm episode. Well, whatever. Where is it? Mushoku Tensei. This is the early broadcast. It looks good. I don't need to zoom in to tell that this is good. Yes. Was this a good one? Well, this one looks fine. Here? They look a bit 2D. There'd be a good, better example. Here. Well, there's pretty obvious that that tree there is supposed to be animated and that other tree there is not. Yeah, like the grass looks a bit like a bit too unrealistic, yeah. Also, I hate the filter. Do not do filters in anime. Stop it! Stop it. Am I recording this video? I hope I am. Should be. There's no icon on the screen, which will tell me. Yes, it's a pretty gorgeous show. Better looking than the Bookworm anyways. But Bookworm is a bit more of an endearing production. Yeah. It's extremely cute. So, what was I gonna say? What about Bookworm? What's the deal with Bookworm? Yeah, compared to Mushoku Tensei here. Why do I insist on comparing the two? I mean, I said there's a rivalry going on in my head with these two. Anyways, Mushoku Tensei has Sakuga, has gorgeous parts, but the problem is that there's also jank, which Bookworm does not have jank. Bookworm has zero jank. It is the superior show when it comes to integrity. You know, it just has great line art, whatever, but then it has stuff that just doesn't look good because maybe they spend too much energy in one part of the show for it to be able to look as good in every part. But Bookworm is not a particularly action-driven show, so having this kind of zero Sakuga but always decent looking. I wouldn't even say that it's decent. It's kind of amazing looking. Kind of amazing looking through the sheer force of endearment. The backgrounds are as good as they need to be. It's like what do you call it? Era appropriate. Well, this part here looks a bit too digital. About as good as it needs to be, yeah, but not amazing, yeah. It does the job, I suppose. It does the job. But the character art is so expressive and varied. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, I can't. I mean, look at these backgrounds. They look a bit more, lively. They look like they belong in the world that they are inhabiting. Unlike some shots in Mushoku Tensei, indeed. Some of these. Yeah. Oh, this is so exciting. It's gonna be so good. I mean, it's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite things. Usually, this is a tangent, but usually when a TV series has an irregular amount of episodes, it's something to pay attention to. I heard this from someone else and it's been pretty true. Like, I think Ping Pong had like 11 episodes. Something like Konosuba had 10 episodes as well, you know. I wouldn't call 11 episodes that irregular, but it's a fun thing too. It usually informs you that the staff isn't just going through the motions of just another anime production where 13 or 12 episodes is a standard. Like the first season of Bookworm having 14 episodes is pretty based. The difference between season 1 and 2 is, like I said again, one core adapts 2 volumes here, but for the first volume, for the first season, it adapts 3 volumes, so having that 1 or 2 extra episode helps a lot. It's also the part that skips a bit. Skip some stuff, inevitably. Like a big portion of Bookworm volumes is that there's a lot of side stories after the epilogue. It's sort of an interesting repeating structure with Bookworm volumes that it starts first prologue from someone else's perspective, and then all the normal chapters are from mine, the main character here, her perspective, and then after the epilogue is also from another person's perspective, I think, and then all the side chapters are a random side character being developed, like mine's mom here, or dad, or Otto, or Ben, or so on and so forth. It's a pretty great way to make a novel. Yep. Yeah. Bookworm! Yeah! I'm not even fucking halfway through Bookworm here. I'm 20 minutes in. Almost 20 minutes in, at least, on this audio track here. Breaking the fourth wall over here. Yes. Maybe the last thing about the Bookworm here. The voice cast. Oops, I touched the mic stand. Sorry about that. The voice cast. Do I have some good stuff for them here? I do take clips pretty proactively here. Ferdinand, voiced by Sho Hayami, which is the best pick for Ferdinand ever I could ever imagine. It is a wonderful pick. Benno being Koyashi Takahito is also perfect. No complaints. Lutz being Mutsumi Tamura, great. Mine, Yuka Iguchi. It's the I hear mine when I hear Yuka Iguchi these days. There's no one else that I would think of. Let's see, do I have some what would be a good clip here? The soundtrack is also pretty good. Very good. Very good. I mean, like, I love these two characters. Yeah, maybe the one complaint I have with the anime is probably that there's a bit of frame smoothing in place of actual animated frames. There's a little bit of action at the end of season 2. And yeah, it shows that there's some frame smoothing going on there. It's not quite desirable, no. But it's not important at all. It doesn't matter. Does not matter. Oh, I just can't wait for season 3. What if it got like even more seasons after this? Oh, that would be a dream come true. Though, Bookworm sales, I'm not quite sure on. I think the way they sell the no, the way they sell Blu-ray volumes might be a bit different than normal. So this doesn't look very good, does it? Like 700,000 sales. But it's still somehow getting 3 seasons, so there has to be some logic to it, right? Please load a bit quicker, thank you. Can I? Oh yeah! Hell yeah! Yes! Yes! Yes. This kind of giddy stuff is a first after, like, I never felt like this about anime and stuff before I read Mushoku Tensei, so that's the port opening thing. I haven't gotten this excited about. DVD sales. Chapters. How do chapters work? Blu-ray box. This looks like yeah. At least the Blu-rays being sold are Season 1, Season 2 in one package. So these sales over here, it doesn't seem to be recording the DVD sales at all here. I'm sure it's above 0 sales, you know. So this is like realistically, I think the price of these should be 3 times more than the average Blu-ray volume, which I'm not quite that well versed in Blu-ray boxes, but I think it's usually like 4 episodes. Chapters, I suppose these are episodes. 4 episodes, 24, 25, 26. 3 episode packs? Huh. 3 episode packs. So is this 4 times more? 4 times 4. 3,000 sales. It's pretty good then. Maybe it could go past season 3. That would be nice. I would love that. Bookworm. Bookworm is great. Maybe it. Yes, Bookworm. What was I going on? Yeah, it has sold pretty well. This data here doesn't seem very accurate. Maybe there should be some disclaimers here, and I certainly do not think that they have sold zero DVDs. But yeah, have I explained my love for this series enough yet? I have not. No, I was talking about the voice actors, but then I spurged out, I suppose. Yuka Iguchi. Yeah, I tangented from the video. Is there anything here that I want to? Yes, this one. This one's good. Nanda.
まだ機嫌悪いよ。やってみよう。父さん素敵。
I don't know if I'm gonna show these like that, but whatever. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful series. We're still recording? Yes. I'm a spurging at over here. Hongo Mitsuru. I have no idea who you are, but you're doing great work. You seem pretty, they seem pretty established. Yep. Damn, it's a lot. Why book? What? Average adaptation at best. You people are stupid. Do not read mal comments unless you want to be ironic. Yeah, that's enough about the anime at least. I could keep talking about the manga now. The thing about the anime that is connected to the manga over here. Let's open a new window. The screen isn't recording, so. Bookworm. Here it is. I don't have an example for this one here, but this shot over here is like a bit of visual storytelling, if you can tell. It's a line from the novel, like a single line. I mean, the early volumes of Bookworm had like these single lines that sort of summed up the thematic meaning of the chapter they take place in. And you know what cobweb means in the entangled in the spider's web. Mine is pretty unhealthy. She's stuck in bed because she's sick. And this part is most certainly taken from the manga. And I have reason to suspect that they have used the manga as storyboards for a lot of it. I don't really have that good examples for it here because I did not prepare. Yeah, I just take save pages that I like. I have something to comment about or like it someone. The manga isn't quite as good as the anime. For one, the character designs are a little less inspired. I mean, it's not like you can decide as a singular author that much what you're gonna make the characters look like. It's what you know how to do. The adults look pretty great. Like, Ferdinand looks way better than the kid characters. The kid characters look a bit, I mean, some of the stuff looks extremely cute, but I think the earlier art might look actually better when mine is a little bit smaller here. Yeah, it's the artist is pretty competent, but I think a big part of what makes like colors are a pretty important part of Bookworm. There's like a world building bit about hair colors. It's pretty cool stuff. You don't really see that very much in the manga. But I wouldn't call it like a lethal flaw. The manga is great still. The interesting part about the Bookworm manga in specific is that it has this release style that I absolutely do love, which is different artists per part. The first two parts have the same artist, and part 2 started when part 1 ended, which makes sense because it's the same artist. The art style may be a bit changed, but anyways, part 3. Wow. Part 3 has different artists. Doesn't look quite good, but I like the principle of it. It's like this Umineko Ryukishi 07 manga adaptation style where you release multiple parts at the same time, or start publishing multiple parts at the same time. Usually like September 2018. This one's April 2018. Part 3 started before part 2. That's something pretty interesting. Well, if you're a manga only reader, that might be a bad thing, but on the other hand, if you think of it this way, by the time when part 2 is over, you already have quite a lot of part 3 to read. And in total, it gets finished a lot faster. This has been running since 2015, and this might complete by like 2022 or something. So you'd have like let's see, 47 chapters. There's gonna be like 60 chapters maybe. That's 100 chapters. There's gonna be, how many chapters should it be? Let's say what should I? This is like each part of Bookworm is longer than the previous one. This is novel talk here, so I'm not gonna go into more depth yet about that. But let's say it's 200 chapters. 200 chapters in 7 years. How is that? Is that 200 chapters in 7 years? Is that wait a minute. Yeah. That's not quite weekly rate, but let's see. You'd 7 years, 7 times 12. You'd normally have 87 chapters. Just that seems a bit. Yeah, manga. Monthly manga is fucked up, dude. It's fucked up. But instead that you'd have 200, which is like 28 chapters per year. Am I doing the math right here? It's like bi-weekly. Yeah. It's a lot better than just releasing with the same artist monthly until it ends, because as I've said before, it's a 36 volume novel series, and this artist has taken 6 years to do the first 7 volumes, and they're not even done yet. 6 years for 7 volumes. They're gonna be dead of age before they've finished. Not literally, but maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll die of something. Then part 4 here. Part 4. This is the good part of having changing artists. You might have artists that get worse, but then you get artists that get better. Who is that? It's Katsuki Hikaru. Who is that? It's the baby steps? Like, look at this established author with assumedly, let's see what baby steps looks like. I'm not quite yeah, I'm not sure how even to finish that sentence, but they are an established author doing work for Bookworm, which I think is pretty amazing. I think it's quite amazing. This art isn't amazing, but is baby steps a weekly? 47 volumes in 10 years? 5, 10. Yeah, that's weekly. If it's a monthly Bookworm, I can assume that it looks better. But yeah, that's the cool part of changing artists. Umineko is my favorite manga ever. I love it, absolutely love it. And it has multiple amazing artists working on it, which just makes it better. Yes, that's an ass. I don't know who on Mal decided to do that, but it is good to have changing. It is good to have changing artists for extremely long novel adaptations, because otherwise, if you do it monthly, it's gonna take forever, which it is taking forever for a ton of series. More series should do everyone the favor of oops, let's not close these ones. Everyone should do the favor of changing manga artists if the artist is not the author in the first place, you know? It would be probably better for the artist's health in the first place. Though, I guess if you're making monthly, you're not particularly busy anyways. Let's look at this Oshinoko panel here, which is highly relevant here. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. No worries, I work on monthly serializations. Until deadline closes, I'm mostly free. Monthly versus weekly. Maybe there's like there'd be like a good middle ground for it, like bi-weekly? Never. No, that wouldn't work, would it? Yeah. That's enough of the manga. There's not much to say about it. It's a more thorough adaptation than the anime, but it is not filled with quite as much talent. I don't think. Oh, that's a loaded term to use, talent, but it's not quite as inspired, I suppose. Yeah, this anime is special. It's special. This manga adaptation isn't particularly special. Yeah. Like I've shown these pretty like it's a fine looking manga. Yeah. Yep. Though I think mine's character is a bit different in manga. It's not quite my interpretation of the character. I mean, in manga the expressions make up a lot. Like yeah. This doesn't feel like quite the mine, I know. Not that it's a huge complaint. It's not a huge problem if it's a bit different. Oh boy, 40 minutes! How long is this gonna be? God, well, that's what I get for being more thorough. I recorded an earlier version of this where I like breezed through series a lot faster, but that's what I get, I suppose. This is gonna be edited a bit, so maybe it'll not end up being too long. So we have gone through the anime and the manga. I'm sure I'd have something additional to say about both of them, but this isn't a scripted video. I do not plan on making it scripted, so for now it shall do. Yes, I love it. Wonderful series. Absolutely wonderful. So the novel itself. Well, where should I start? I do have a bunch of novel illustrations saved. But before that I had something else to talk about. Yes, I made some references here. But I think when I was comparing Mushoku Tensei and Bookworm, I talked about the novel being like a juggernaut of writing quality, and I made like an image to reference it, like an example of it with some image editing. This is the title: World Building and Character Development in a Single Paragraph. The thing I like to parrot a lot is that in Bookworm, the novel, every single paragraph of dialogue and stuff is full of world and character development. It is so dense while being so long. Bookworm, not quite the longest. The longest novel I've ever read in a series is a 700-page Yojo Senki Volume 2, which was like 700 pages. Bookworm, at its longest, is a bit over 500 pages. But that's all of the volumes are on average at least like 470. That's probably the average. But what makes Bookworm so good is that there is not much wasted dialogue. It is not meandering. It gets to the point. And that's extremely impressive. I'm currently reading ReZero, and it's I don't want to shit talk it here. I think it's good, but not nearly as well written as this here. It's just nearly not as like thought through and satisfying to read. So let's start here. Yes, as you can see, I've circled the things that a single paragraph of Bookworm on average includes. This example, I did not take this example for this reason. It's just a random line that I like. It is most certainly not the best paragraph in the series, and there are probably less applicable to this line here, or the thing I like to parrot. Every paragraph is full of character and world development. There may be some paragraphs that are not the best example of that. This is not the best example, but it's not the worst example. So yeah, as you can see, the red one, noble treatment norms. This is a bit of a spoiler, but if you're not reading it, it doesn't matter. You'll forget by the time you read it. Noble treatment norms. A big part of the world development after the first part of Bookworm is nobles. There are nobles and commoners, and what separates nobles and commoners is whether they can use magic. There's a lot of responsibility and etiquette that goes into being a noble because the world needs the magic. So unlike in the real world, there's like an actual reason to have nobles, and there would probably not be a French Revolution if the nobles had magic that could kill you immediately. So yeah. Noble treatment norms. This high bishop here is a bad guy, but he does not get killed because there is like political reasons for it. They would need to execute him through procedure and like interrogate him first for getting maximum information out of him, so on and so on. But then you have nobles' treatment of commoners. Noble versus commoner. The noble can just kill them without any problems. Sure, a noble, if they just kill someone randomly, they'll get punished for it. If they do it where people can see you anyways. This is not one of those situations, and there's like a proper justification for self-defense and so on. Though these grey shrine maidens, maybe less black and white, yeah. But this is the difference between nobles and commoners, which is communicated in this paragraph. And then you have a bit of magic mechanics. High Bishop does not get hurt because he's bound by the magic that the attacker had bound him by, so he's immune to the Harry Potter beam, Super Saiyan beam thing. Yeah, and then there's the second orange one. The commoners, however, have no magic, have no way to defend against magic, so they just fucking evaporate. Bookworm, it's a pretty, it's not a particularly dark or dramatic series, but it's what makes the dark part so wonderful is that how they make perfect sense. They're not like mood shifts at all. It's just, okay, there's this is the least sexual series of all time, but there's still like rape in it. Like nobles can rape commoners without consequence because it's a caste society even more rigid than Earth. So yeah, this is the kind of world Bookworm is. And then you have this is start of another paragraph, but it's a pretty funny line. Ferdinand's personality gets communicated here. Expectations of a noble. This is how nobles are expected to behave in this world. They are schemers, but outwardly they act like good people because in the long scheme of things, they are the people who who keep the world running, because the earth requires mana for like food to be able to be cultivated there. So they are. It's not like nobles are bad people in this series. It's just that there are bad nobles, and nobles are in conflict with each other, and commoners just need to buckle up and get out of the way. But this world building bit is that devouring soldiers are basically commoners with magic. So it's not like nobles and commoners are genetically like different species or anything. It's just that nobles are people who were born with mana, and the noble lines are kept with making children with other people with mana. There's like a thing that if there's a huge difference in your mana capacity, you cannot have children with each other. So that's another part why the nobles use commoners as convenient holes, you know. So yeah, this is the paragraph. Ferdinand gets developed. We see a side of him, a violent side of him that we haven't seen before. It communicates that this is how nobles are expected to be able to behave when the chips are down. It develops, or it's like communicates noble commoner hierarchy, and how if commoners do something against if commoners do something against the nobles, they cannot complain if they get immediately killed. Though in this case, Ferdinand didn't exactly kill them because he wanted to, or not that he didn't want to, but the target for it was another character that is not mentioned in this paragraph. So they are just like collateral damage that Ferdinand thinks that might as well get rid of these problems as well. You know, it's a wide range attack, so clean the whole shit up. Yeah. The person he is attacking is another noble, though, which is... This wasn't meant to kill that noble, because that noble was going to be captured. Just kill the people who might harm the others around them. Just kill them quickly. Yes. That is a paragraph of Bookworm. The Bookworm standard. This is how much information there is to gain from a single paragraph. Though, I suppose... my knowledge of other paragraphs sort of helped me interpret it. But yeah, that's Bookworm writing. That's enough of this image here. Yeah. As I've mentioned before, Bookworm has parts. Indeed. I think what makes this interesting is that, similarly to artists changing like the setting, like the first part is mine at the bottom caste, like a low income family struggling to make books and trying to deal with her illness. And in the part 2, the illness is solved through Ferdinand's help, and she moves, or in part 1 she moves from the lower city, which is like the lowest caste, to the upper city progressively through her ideas, like new recipes and so on and so forth. And eventually she gets picked up by Ferdinand and enters the temple, which is the thing between the nobles and commoners. It is where nobles and commoners interact in this city the story takes place in at this point. And throughout this part, mine gets more involved with nobles. And eventually she gets adopted by a noble because of necessity. Because mine is a person with mana. She is a devouring child. So she gets adopted by nobles, and now she is in the noble district. So the story went from lower city, upper city, temple, to the noble district. And it's constantly changing settings, introducing new characters, and developing old characters, because even the earlier characters stay relevant, because mine establishes businesses in the lower city throughout this part. Because the there are way more commoners around than nobles. So commoners still take care of production and stuff. So mine's businesses here. The way she keeps in contact with the people she sort of loses after the first 7 volumes, she keeps in contact with them through her businesses, because she makes a lot of money from them. So, from the noble district, indeed, she goes to different places. Eventually throughout part 3. Before part 3, or around this part here, part 2, volume 3, which is where the anime season 3 starts, the whole duchy opens up. The story up to this point had been taking place in Ehrenfest, which is the capital of this duchy, which is a part of a kingdom. There are like 20-something duchies in this kingdom. Like 7 volumes, 7 long-ass volumes, and it's just now opening the whole part of 1/20th of the kingdom, which we will be entering throughout the story. There's like so much development going on, and it's taking its sweet ass time, and it's so satisfying when it's finally get to these parts. Part 3 is the part where she's involved with nobles, and part 4 is the school arc where she enters the sovereignty, which is the place where the Royal Academy is. So this is the school arc, which is completely outside of Ehrenfest, which is the duchy. Oh boy, you know, there's just, and this is 1/3 through of the series. I think there's only 5 parts though. Each part is like longer than the last. It's pretty nice. This is another part of the strength of the series. It is extremely well structured. There are constantly changing settings. Mind goes to different places, learns more things about the world, introduces different characters of all caste levels, and it's just wonderful. This is a wonderful series. Like each of these parts is basically has enough to make for a whole series, as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of stuff. There's enough characters in each part to make a whole series, and they're all well developed. The thing about Bookworm is that the characters aren't necessarily the most complex, but what makes them so good is how endearing they are and how well they are intertwined with their roles in the world. Like Gunther and Eva here, they're her mind's parents. Gunther is a simple person. He's kind of dumb, doesn't have much going on up there, but he loves his kids, and he is extremely endearing. Yeah, and it's not like they are simple characters. Same with Mom, but they are simple characters, but that doesn't make them any less nuanced. Mine and Ferdinand here might be extremely complex characters, but they are about equal when it comes to nuance of the characters. Like Eva and Gunther here. They might be simple, but that doesn't mean that their emotions are any less nuanced as these characters. That's what makes... this is the most consistent novel series that I have ever read. This is why it's good. Like, all of these characters have stuff going on, even though some of them are like dummies, dumb kids. Whew, yeah. And what makes up for the emotional core of the series are the characters, obviously. They are, again, I said, they're not complex characters, but they are extremely believable characters, which makes the more emotional parts work so well. I don't cry very often, but the end of part 2, the end of what will be season 3 of the anime made me cry quite a bit. Probably top 3 parts that made me cry the most. Incidentally, the thing that's made me cry the most is made me cry the most by a very long shot is the Mushoku Tensei web novels ending. Not the anime here, but the second most is probably Umineko here. Ending of Umineko destroyed me completely. But yeah, the third most part is the end of part 2 of this novel series here. So, on top of all the writing consistency, all the intrigue, all the lovely characters, all the scale, it is the best part of it is the characters. everything supports each other and is just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And what is the absolutely most exciting part of this is that I have only read 1/3 of the series by this point. It's gonna be over 30 volumes and I'm not even halfway through it. This is why it's so exciting. It's going to... I can't even express how wonderful that feeling is. Like, I already love Ascendance of Bookworm more than, like, almost anything else on this site. Almost more than anything on this site. And it's just barely over 1/3 through. Wow, how wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Lastly, I think I forgot, but the illustrations. What was the illustrator? It was Yu Sheena, I think. It's a pretty loose art style, but extremely you can tell where the anime faces came from, like mine's varied expressions. It's a bit of a loose art style, but I think it's great for the. I think it's great for the novel. There's a whole ton. There's a whole ton of illustrations per volume, and they're some of the best illustrations, while not being necessarily the highest fidelity or whatever. Like you have your Overlord illustrations here. There are no Overlord illustrations, but there are a lot more expressive than Overlord, even if they're not as detailed. This is what I want from light novel illustrations. Very good. Very good. A lot of the time I'm like kind of annoyed what the illustrators decide to illustrate of the novels, but Bookworm has the quality and quantity required of light novel illustrations to make me extremely happy with them. This page particularly, God. Oh, yes. Bookworm. Absolutely wonderful. I think that's it. Do I have anything else to say? I think I have some. I've made reviews on my Mal page or my anime list, manga list. Yes, the worst thing about Bookworm is that I couldn't read it all the way through from the beginning. On the other hand, if I had waited to read this for way later, I could have read more of it in one go, but on the other hand, I might have never actually read it if I didn't read it when I was the most interested in it. So that's the dilemma here. I'm quite an impulsive person, so usually when I get interested in something, I just go for it, because otherwise I might never read it. Yes. Endlessly delightful series. Okay, this is the third time I'm recording this. The second time I didn't even have any screen recording. That try was pretty good as far as the talking went, but who cares, I suppose. Yeah, Kumo Desu ga, Nani ka. Not want to compete with Bookworm or Mushoku Tensei, not even close, but still, it's still a really good one. At least the novel here. But yeah, as you can see, the anime isn't quite as good. Just a little bit worse. The problem with the anime is, one, Shin Itagaki direction is he's a good comedy director, but anything serious or anything that tries to be cool completely falls flat. There's like the CG animation seems to be pretty he seems to be pretty uninvolved with it, but all the 2D action animation looks completely like stupid. Even if there's like actual skill in the animation itself going on, it's still like it's got Itagaki's foot like fingerprints all over it, which is not good. Not good. The first half of the series has a lot of animation, and the character art itself, let's see. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Look at this. It looks pretty good. Yes, look at this. Very good. Very good. Colorful gags. It's creative. It is creative. The first half of this series is creative. Like these kind of yeah. Gross. But then let me look at this one. This is like kind of makes me want to compare it to Tensei Stellar Slime Death again. And at the end of the first season, start of the second season, there's like these establishing shots with whoever the fuck Clayman's castle. Compare this shot of a Demon Lord's castle to that one, and you can tell that at its best this show looks pretty great. Like the 2D, when it's like still, when it stills, it looks good, but when it's animated, it's either mediocre CG that's animated decently but looks like plastic, or Shin Itagaki's insane 2D animation, which seems more suitable for fucking Teiki or something. Certainly not for like something like this. No, something even slightly, partially, sometimes dramatic. Yeah, but then, oh yeah, look at this, the Demon Lord girl. Look at how the eyes are drawn. This detail, it's well drawn. Yes, look, very good. Then there's this kind of shit, but let's talk about that later. Creative visuals, pretty cool. But then you have these mediocre CG models, whatever. Yeah, spoiler. I mean, look at this girl. She's cute. Erotic ass. Goddamn. Yeah, but then you guys are kind of awful. And in the end, it eventually turns into a mess of a production, which is a shame. It's a shame. I mean, look at this. 2D horse, 3D horse. Look at this fucking shading. I mean, at least try to keep it consistent. This is like a fucking cut and paste job. Like, stop with it. This unfocused character. The background looks like a cardboard cutout. Compare that to the Mushoku Tensei backgrounds, and it's a fucking night and day difference. Though there's still like occasional like fun gags in the second half, but not nearly as successful or frequent. This is not very good. I wish I could show you the passion I had the first time when I recorded this. I was like laughing my ass off and like raging, spurging out, but that's the price you have to pay to have proper recordings. It has occasional good like framing or shot composition. Like this one looks pretty cool, even though if the tree looks like bad CG. Yeah. It's kind of annoying how the 2D and 3D kind of designs for the Kumoko here do not match at all. I suppose it's fine that there's like variance in expression, but I don't know, it's a small complaint. There's not much else to say about it. It's just it doesn't adapt very far. Yeah, and it fails even at that. And then you get like these episodes. Like, who thought that was okay? That's not okay. Look at this fucking blanket here. That's not how it's supposed to look. Oh my god, I'm getting the feeling again. This never stops being funny. Look at these fucking lines. They're not supposed to be there. Why? That's a still. This is not a moving image. It's a panning upwards image, from what I remember. Look at this fucking sword. It looks awful. Look at this character in general. It's just not good. Not good. And there's fucking this over here. God, look at his chin. Look at his chin. What's wrong with it? God, look at his fucking face. That is not okay. And there's a fucking floating horse. There's a fucking floating horse. There's a fucking flying horse, man. That's amazing. This shot, this shot made me absolutely laugh my ass off when I saw it. Even seeing it for like 4th or 5th time, it's still making me smile. Oh, there's this. God, what a fucking mess of a presentation. It's not just that it's a fucking production train wreck. It's also combined with Itagaki's fucking stupid direction. There have been worse train wrecks, but what a fucking dream combination. At least Berserk looked awful from the start. At least that looked awful from the start. This production is just sad. Did you see those early stills? That character art, and then it ends with this. Look at this fucking cell shading. God, father. Yeah, at least Yuki is having fun doing whatever the fuck she wants. This is kind of a funny thing. That what this has in common with Kumo Desu has common with another isekai series that I like. At least one version of it I like. Is that she's involved with the worst version of it. Kumo Desu over here. And another show. Actually, I don't even. Oh, I do have it here. Yo, just thank you. I fucking hate this anime. I love the novel. The novel is amazing, but the anime is fucking awful, and I hate her performance in it. Though it's the casting. The casting is completely a good idea. Yuki Aoi fits Tanya, but just the performance itself, I hate it. I hate how she performs this character, because this is not the character that I like from the novel. And this fucking Kumo Desu, she's just doing whatever the fuck she wants. It's not a very good combination, Itagaki and Yuki Aoi, to be honest. But yeah, this is some prime Itagaki shit. These characters are not supposed to be this close to each other. There's no production reason for these characters to be this close to each other. You can see the backgrounds. They have made the backgrounds over there. So why? It makes no sense. But at least these characters hot. The character designs themselves are pretty fine, at least when they're drawn properly. As you saw, Ariel, Demon Lord girl over there. Demon Lord girl over here is pretty it's pretty cute. It's one of my favorite characters from the novel. They did justice to her design, at least when she was drawn properly. In the second half, she's completely CG. Because why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Going from this to a fucking CG model. A fucking stiffly animated CG model. Fuck you. Fuck you. At least this girl's hot though. At least she's not completely CG. She's still CG, but not always. Fuck you, man. Look at this fucking cockhead over here. Look at this cockhead. God. She does not look like that. Wanna see the light novel design of her? Let's see, where is it? I do have it here. Let us see. There it is. Look, this is what her original design looks like. Quite a good design, right? Pretty cool, right? Turned into a cockhead. God, what a mess. I feel bad for the author. Not as bad as Carlos and though they might not actually despise the anime and manga adaptations as much as I do. Though I don't despise the manga adaptations of either of these. It's just that they're comparatively mediocre and then the anime are garbage. The anime are garbage. God, fuck the anime. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I have fun with bad shows. Like a 2 out of 10. A 2 out of 10 is better than a 4 out of 10, as far as I'm concerned. I just find it hilarious to watch really bad shows. Something like, what would be a good example? Like Healing Hero, Kaifu Jutsu. It was a fucking hilarious show. Though not all of them are as entertaining. Sadly, I wish all series or shows were as entertaining as Healing Hero. At its worst, Kumo Desu at least makes me laugh. Fucking cockhead over here. God. The manga. Okay, let's shift gears. That's enough of the anime. There's not much to say about the anime. So I suppose I talked over 10 minutes about it. So there was something to say, yes. The manga. The difference between the manga and the anime is that it removes the secondary storyline completely. So these characters you were seeing here, these scenes are... Well, actually, no, these scenes will not happen. These scenes will not happen in the manga until, like, very much later, if it even goes that far ever. Like, these scenes with Spider do happen, or have happened, because there's two separate storylines going on in the material from the novel that the manga and anime are currently going through. So this stuff is in the manga. But yeah, compared to the hilarity of the anime's incompetence, Kumo Desu manga is just kind of mediocre. It's just not very good looking. Maybe first, before I show the news chapter, I could tell some general things. The best part about the Kumo Desu manga is how the author makes up for their lack of skill with creativity and expression. Like, it's full of these memes and it's like a very upbeat tone, which is similar to the anime and novels. Somewhat creative visuals are pretty nice. It's pretty nice. But that's basically it. The art is not good. And as I said, the secondary storyline is completely removed, so there's like zero reason to prefer it to the anything really. I don't know. It's got like fucking Etrian Odyssey reference. Yeah. Kaiji reference. It's just not very good looking. Yeah. JoJo reference. Yeah, that's about what the manga has going for it. It's like pretty consistently just slightly above mediocre. Most of the character designs are pretty big downgrades, and they're not drawn particularly well either. If you look at this, Potimas and who was his name? Merasofis here. It does not look good by itself, and they're already pretty big downgrades from the... Though, except with this Kumoka here. The pretty big part of the series is that, or at least the first 5 volumes, is that she evolves into new forms of spiders throughout it. And the final form with the human half is pretty cute in the manga. It's probably the one thing one aspect I might prefer to the novel is that this design is pretty cute. Minus the stupid looking chibi head, which if we compare it to the light novel design here, it looks much more appropriate to have like a non-cartoonish spider head when you already have another. It's just this part here does not work very well. This works. This works pretty well. Yeah. Where was I going on? Yeah. The designs are dang great for the most part. Potimas here. Let's see. This is what he looks like in the novel. He's got pretty cool looking elf ears. Got a pretty distinctive nasty ass face. I have other illustrations somewhere here. Did I? Here. The color in the novel is pretty high contrast. But I like the design sense for the designs. Ariel here especially. If you look at her cape is very cool. Very cool cape. Very cool. Very cool. Yes. I do quite like these designs a lot. And they are pretty downgraded in the manga. This manga is not impressive in any way. Sadly, it's just consistent and somewhat entertaining at times. But look at this character. There's Mera Sophicia. What is he supposed to look like? Do I have any illustrations of him here? Not sure if I saved any. God, I have not saved. He's not a particularly distinct guy. Let's look at the wiki here. Merazofis. What a very vampiric name. He doesn't start off as a vampire, which just makes his name pretty convenient. That's what he looks like in the novel. And look at this fucking manga design. It's fucking not good. Not good. Handsome? Who are you calling handsome? Yeah. But at least this Arachne girl's face is pretty cute. Pretty cute and good. It's more, this is a bit, though I do like the 1,000-yard stare of this design here too. But I do enjoy looking at cute girls, even if they are connected to spiders, though here, there, it looks more stupid than creepy. Yeah, it's just not very competent, but it's endearing still. It's not a train wreck, it's just mediocre at parts. Those are the adaptations of Kumo Desu. This is what most light novel authors have to go through. Depressing stuff. Yeah, it's best to not expect anything.
Hello again.
I had to wait for another day so I wouldn't be so tired. If you notice, I was a bit less energetic while talking about Kumo Desu than Bookworm. You could probably also see the clock at the corner. But anyways, yeah, I couldn't really talk about Kumo Desu the novel and do it justice while I was tired, so I had to wait another day so I could finish this recording and maybe finish this episode. So yeah, Kumo Desu Nani the novel. Like I've sort of hinted at before, it's way better than both the manga and especially the anime. But the thing that makes it better isn't necessarily because like the manga and novel just don't grasp at the original appeal at all. It's more that the novel turns into a completely different story after the anime adapted material ends and the material the manga is still going through. To me, it was also like a 6 out of 10 series. Like I said, the anime first half 6 out of 10 around. And the novel was seemingly going to be that as well if it kept as good as the first 5 volumes. But at the end of volume 5, I was like, surprised by some pretty cool stuff, and after that it just kept getting better and better and better. It like previously, the first 4 volumes and most of 5, it's a cave spider survival with some mystery elements with the B plot, and the focus of it was the main character like killing or like fighting, killing and eating the monsters she comes across and like becoming stronger and stronger for it. It was like you know, like starting from the highest difficulty from the get-go. So it was like desperate survival thing. But once she gets out of the cave, it obviously turns into a different show because as said, she starts her journey in the hardest part of the world, which is the Grand Elro Labyrinth, which is the biggest labyrinth and most difficult, whatever. And she leaves it by killing the final boss. So she's now OP MC tag, but this isn't particularly fetishistic series about it. So anyways, after she gets out of the cave, it becomes a lot more character focused. It introduces characters like Sophia, like I mentioned that name before. She's the what image should I use for it here? Do I have any good? There it is. Sophia Keren here. The illustrations are it's kind of annoying how like how much difference there is in attention to detail with most light novel artists. Like the effort artists put into like the early spreads and covers is so much more than these like single page, like in the middle of the story ones. Like it's a bit annoying, but this looks fine, I suppose. There are some there are some younger Sophia versions here. She's pretty cute here. There's another character there. Oh, my dog's yelping in his sleep. That's cute. This is a good illustration. So anyways, the other characters, Merazofis, like I think I talked about him a bit. I still do not have any illustrations of him, but let's show it again, I suppose. Kumo Desu wiki and Kumoko. That's not an actual name. She does not have a name. Merazofis. Here's the vampire dude. Sophia and Merazofis are very involved with each other characters. And other characters like the Wrath, which is the other character in this, which happens to be involved in my favorite scene in the whole series. This guy's pretty cool. I like him. And then there's like Ariel, the Demon Lord girl, which I showed as well. She has a pretty great design. A lolly hag, yes. Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, the show starts focusing on characters like those, when before that it did not pay any attention to the like characters other than the B-plot characters, which I suppose I do have an illustration of those, like these dumbasses here. Yeah, talk about unfair. They're just having fun while the other set of characters are doing their stuff. What was I saying? I forgot. Yeah, outside of this B plot, it's only focused on our spider here, and it changes. It was like it felt like a pretty generic survival isekai thing that I had read before, but then it turns into something way more interesting, which is funny because in the first volume there is also this B plot, and it's not necessarily interesting, by itself. So it's like, it's sort of the, after the first 5 volumes, it starts justifying why this storyline is more interesting than you initially thought. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, after volume 5, this B-plot stops and it starts telling the story of how these characters got into the situation that they did. And it sort of flips who is right and who is wrong on its head at that point. It's pretty... I haven't read far enough. I mean, the web novel's finished and translated, I think, but light novel's still at like volume 12. And when the after volume 5 stuff catches up with this B-plot here, it's gonna be like volume 14, I think. So I'm anxiously waiting for that volume. I hope it pays off well, but even if it didn't, it still has the great 5 volumes after the first 5. Yes, my languages may be a bit repetitive here, but please bear with it. Also, the lolly elf here is pretty cute. Philimos, or who was the Okasens? Yes. This is gonna be a bit spoilery. Maybe I should skip this for later. No. I hope you will not begrudge me if I spoil a whole lot of stuff here, because I cannot explain why it is interesting otherwise. And if I'm gonna guess, the people who listen to this are not gonna read it, or have not been interested in reading it before they listen to this. So let me explain to you the good parts of this thing here. So one of the most interesting parts of this series is the main character, actually. She's kind of an irreverent dumbass, so you wouldn't exactly figure her out to be particularly interesting, but there are some reveals related to her, which are related to the mystery elements from the first 4 volumes. So it's sort of a lot of the story is focused on justifying the first 5 volumes and making the stuff better in hindsight. So your initial impression of, oh, this is like a 6 out of 10, it kind of goes away. It's why I could rate it so highly, even though its first 5 volumes weren't so great, because they got better later when I had more information in regards to it. And even outside of that, the fights are pretty good and pretty fun, outside of like a couple instances of ass pulls. So yeah, I'm going out of breath here. Let us open our iconic cream soda here. Oh yeah. For some reason, this soda makes me more energetic. I don't know why, but I get like sugar rush or something. I'm not sure how much sugar there is in this. It's only like 41 calories per 100 milliliters, which is the average for any like cola or whatever. This ain't cola, by the way. This is like quality drink. Quality drink. The reason I'm drinking this stuff is so I wouldn't drink alcohol, so judge as you will, but I will not feel ashamed because it's good tasting. Yes, that tangent aside. Spoiler alert. There had been small hints about the main character Spider Girl here being Ariel, the Demon Lord girl, because they're both very involved with spiders, and there was like a bit of a hint, like a red herring thing that this spider was gonna be her 15 minutes later. There was like a stupid line about wouldn't it be funny if one of our fellow reincarnators was the Demon Lord? Or something like that. But yeah, that was red herring. The actual Jesus Christ. The actual reveal is that, well, there's this one character which is very involved in the plot of the whole world and how this situation came about that they got reincarnated. Basically, the setting of this thing is that a whole class of school students got exploded and then died, so they reincarnated in this world. Why did it happen? Well, I'm gonna spoil it here, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Well, basically, the reason why this character, okay, let's call her D. The reason why the character D got attacked was because there's this title which is related to skills called Demon Lord, which basically forces the leading demon race person to wage war against humans, because there's this reason why people must be killed in this world. So basically, the hero and the demon lord teamed up to kill this D character, because the D character was the reason why this title was created. More on that later. I was sort of these topics are in bad order, so sorry about that. But basically, all the characters get reincarnated in this new world, and this spider girl is assumed to be one of the schoolgirls from that class. But it is later revealed that D was that schoolgirl actually. And it was basically, she is a fake created by D out of like a soul of a spider that happened to be in the classroom at that time, and she was given D's memories to like mask it. It's a pretty like wild reveal. Maybe I couldn't really communicate how cool that felt in the moment, because there's a lot of like side stuff to it that makes it more interesting, but I think that's a pretty cool reveal. It was like everything about the series from the first 5 volumes gets like made less generic in hindsight, which is kind of convenient writing, but it works, so it's not a problem. It's no problem. It's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, it subverts your expectations. Wow. No, it's not good because of that. It's good because it subverts them well and in a satisfying way. And it's not like it wasn't hinted from the beginning. So it's no retcon ass pull. It is completely intentional, at least in the light novel version. Maybe in the web novel version, it was thought of later, but. The pretty interesting thing about Kumo Desu is, like all 3, the web novel, light novel, and manga started publishing in 2015. It's probably the quickest I've seen a web novel get published as a light novel. It's kind of wild. More on world development. It's probably one of the weaker aspects to the series. I think the initial world map I saw from it on the as an illustration, which is there a good map here? I guess there isn't, but anyways, it was a pretty shitty map. After seeing stuff like slime map or Mushoku Tensei map or whatever, it was kind of bare bones. Because it's not particularly relevant. It's not particularly focused on the specifics of like countries and like politics and stuff, because, you know, you have this character who could kill anyone with no trouble. It's not exactly a battle thing outside of the first 4-ish volumes. Yeah. There's some politics about involving the demon territory, because one of the main characters is the demon lord, and she uses the demon race to do whatever the fuck she wants them to do. There's some new characters introduced because of that. Some pretty fun characters. But yeah, outside of that, there's not much like world focus, like on the overworld. Not very focused on that. Yeah. But the specifics of the world aside, it's not like the world isn't interesting. The mechanics and history of the world are interesting. I guess it's something pretty fitting that the current state of affairs doesn't matter to the characters because the world used to be a very different place. It's not strictly speaking a high fantasy world. This is another spoiler, but it's post-apocalypse, previously science fantasy world with tanks and UFOs and stuff. There are some people who still use that old technology, and they are unambiguously the bad guys. Potimas here is one of the bastards who uses forbidden technology, I suppose. Yeah, as you can see there. Where is it? Where was it? I mixed it. Yeah, Gloria. Warning: existence not authorized by the system. The system is the set of skills, the skill thing which D created, which is the RPG stuff. It's not like this is a gamey world just because it's a gamey world and you have to accept it. It's a gamey world because there is a canonical reason for it. The character who created the system knows video games, so of course it's completely believable that they would make a video game system. Like I said before, everything later on makes the early parts better and more justified. At the beginning we were like, oh, this is a gamey series. Nope, it gets explained, and the focus goes quite a bit away from stats and stuff. The main character surpasses the system after volume 6 or something. So she no longer has any skills or whatever. She's no longer beholden to that system. The system is also a pretty big part of the world, because it is what keeps it alive. The overuse of the machine here, the reason why this Potimas dude here is a bad guy, is that he keeps using technology which made the world a post-apocalypse, because there's this thing called MA energy, and it's basically the life force of the planet, and in the science fantasy era they overused that energy until the world started breaking apart, and that's when the D character came into play and saved them by creating this system of RPG skills. Pretty cool, right? And it basically uses the XP that people get by killing others, other creatures, as fuel for the system. And it's basically based on reincarnating the same souls to keep the world running. Basically uses XP and reincarnation of souls for energy. So that is the reason why the RPG system is there. Like I said, everything is justified. It is not just another gamey survival cave thing. It goes to much further depths to justify it. And it's sort of a similar thing to Bookworm. One quality of Bookworm I didn't really mention before is that Bookworm is completely above tropes and being lumped in with other things, because it is so thorough in explaining everything from the get-go to make you feel that this world is not just some
tropey thing. Like this spider here. Like gamey elements being done before, like Log Horizon, whatever. Survival cave, probably done somewhere before, not particularly original. I've seen a dozen series that do that. Like getting stronger through like eating stuff. I've seen that before, whatever. But eventually it grows past all of that and makes all the previous stuff more interesting in hindsight. Pretty cool stuff. But the thing about the MA energy and the XP and the RPG system and whatever is that it's a failing system, I suppose. It didn't completely stop the world from breaking, which is something the main character realizes eventually. The reason is because the souls that die, that have a lot of skills and levels and whatever, when they die, their souls get slowly worn down when they reincarnate. So it basically leads to eventually everyone will just die because their souls get obliterated. So this is like the motivation for the characters moving forward, which the B-plot characters here, these B-plot characters have like no idea what's going on related to that, so they kind of can't reconcile with these our actual protagonists here. So that is where the conflict and B-plot comes from. It seemed like it was just an evil demon lord trying to kill everyone, but it was actually our main characters saving the world in a way. The main character doesn't actually care about the world because at that point she could just teleport back to Earth. It's a pretty funny thing that she basically becomes a god. The administrator is the word. D is one of the gods, and she's like unbelievably more powerful than Gules D is another administrator, and he's not nearly as powerful. D is like super all-powerful top tier god. There's like a fucking whole new dimension opens up for this series. Like eventually it becomes that this planet, this isekai planet, is not even important. The main character can just teleport back to Earth and go buy some chips or something. The only reason why she stays there is because she feels indebted. I don't know how to pronounce that. Feels like she's in debt with this character she eventually befriends. So yeah, that is the reason why she helps her to save the world by killing everyone. That is pretty fun. That's a pretty fun part. Yeah, so basically, the reason why the Demon Lord starts waging war is so that as many people as possible will die. But she doesn't really, there's some more specifics to it, but it's not particularly relevant. Just killing people doesn't solve the issue that the reincarnating souls get worn down, but the main character has a plan for it, which is, it's a bit too specific for this highly specific plot talk here, but anyways, let's move on. This is gonna be a fucking 2.5 hour video at this rate. I'm gonna be talking about Spider for longer than Bookworm, even though I don't think it's as good as Bookworm. Bookworm was easier to talk about because its qualities are so straightforward, but it's a bit harder with this here. Yeah. More about world development. Yeah, like I said, the B-plot characters. There's like a skill called Taboo, which explains like the creation myth of this current situation of the world. Let's see, I have some anime screenshots of it. Without the skill, you have no idea what. You have no reason to doubt that skills existing is normal, because the people born in this world just treated as normal, but the reincarnated characters obviously have some reason to feel that it is weird, right? So there's this taboo skill which explains the whole reason that the reason which why the skills exist. Lifespan of the planet increasingly diminished. Yeah, this is the goddess Serial. I think she was used as a sacrifice to make this system, you know. That was the illustration for this. Ariel is related to this goddess here, which is her motivation. This Ariel character is older than when this happened, which is she's a lolly hag indeed. Also a spider. Countdown to oblivion. Sacrifice to revive the world. That's Ariel over there. And then there's cutie ass Ariel. I wish the show looked as good as this always. God, she's a cutie. Very good. Very good. What was I on about? So there. So yeah, that's the reason for the conflict in the B plot. These characters are sided with Potimas, the bad guy here. Not this one. Potimas here. Because they do not know. And this reincarnated school teacher had like a skill that lets her like keep track of all the students. So she's got them all wrapped up and on the elf side, which are the people who are still using the MA energy and like still destroying the world or whatever. Despite how powerful the characters are, these machines and Potimas's science stuff is still like a threat, so I suppose there will be some high stakes combat in the future, even if for the characters most of the strongest people in the world are child's play. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think that's everything about the world development that comes to mind currently. Though it's not really about coming to mind because I have these notes here. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Oh yeah, also, this is tangent, but this puppet spider thing is pretty cute. There's like a mannequins. They're like tiny spiders inside of these mannequins, and they, the main character makes them super cute. One of the running themes for this series is the 7 deadly sins. Never seen that before. Huh? ReZero. Funnily enough, when I read like one of the afterwords for this series, the author, I think Okinababa, was it? Yeah. She or he, I'm not sure which gender this is. Baba sounds like a female name, right? So yeah, I heard that they took writing advice from the ReZero author, which is Teppei something Nagatsuki? Is it that? Let's see. Teppei Nagatsuki, I got it right. Good for me. Good for me. They took writing advice from them, which is pretty funny because after I just recently started reading ReZero and I'm like 14 volumes in. I've read more of ReZero than Bookworm and Kumo Desu, and I do not think their writing quality is quite as good as Spider here. Though maybe it's a bit more consistent, but the level is pretty quite a bit lower. Not to shit talk it too much. It's still like pretty good, yeah. Pretty good. Yeah, 7 Deadly Sins. God, what a tangent. God. It's a pretty central motif for they're used as skills which sort of guide the characters' personalities, and they manifest for the first time because of their initial circumstances and personalities. The main character gets this pride, which is related to the cave's kill or be killed environment, and it basically leads to the main character being a lot more flippant with lives, treating them like XP. It sort of explains in retrospect why she's as okay with random people dying all the time and even killing some of them. It's sort of it's another one, another justification for early stuff. It's yeah, this is a running thing, isn't it? Another skill she manifests is sloth, which similarly to ReZero is actually the opposite of sloth, which is what do we call it? Diligence, because the character is very diligent about optimizing her survival abilities in the cave. Leads to endless tirelessness when it comes to optimization, is what I wrote here. The more interesting, or the most interesting one actually, is the Sword Demon, or Wrath here. Sword Demon Wrath here, which gets the skill Wrath, which manifests because of the character's circumstances. He gets initially reincarnated as a goblin. These are goblins. They're pretty unique goblin design, isn't it? You usually think of like Goblin Slayer goblin designs, but these are fairly unique. Yeah, the character gets reincarnated into Goblin Village, and shit goes down, and he gets mad and evolves into an ogre instead of like a higher level of goblin. It's a pretty great B-plot. It's worth having 2 volumes focused on it. He's one of my favorite characters. So basically, the Wrath makes the character go insane and strengthens them at the same time. Like I said, my favorite fight, or my favorite scene in the series, is a fight between an established like master swordsman character that is already retired in some remote village, and while this ogre turned into an Oni character is on his insane rampage, killing everything in sight, sort of like power leveling similarly to the Spider-Man character. They get into a fight because the sword master has to buy time for the villagers to run away, so there's this long fight. I've like written a short thing I posted on a Discord I'm on. Let me read it for you, because if I just rant here like this, I'm not gonna be able to communicate it. There's this fight in volume 9 where the sword demon over there fights a retired sword king who laid down his sword because he got tired of killing and war, protecting this town from a mindless killing machine, getting rid of his rust, and eventually surpassing his previous prime at an old age. A 1 versus 1 sword duel that lasts for 3 days and 3 nights, ultimately forming a bond of master and disciple, with the Sword King improving the previously mindless and raw power abusing demons' techniques to new heights, and the battle ultimately ending with the Sword King dying from exhaustion, completely satisfied with his life after reaching new heights and passing down his techniques. That is why it's so fucking cool. I wouldn't say that the prose of the series is all that impressive compared to something like Bookworm, but that moment right there in the novel was amazing. It's like a Takehiko Ino Vagabond moment. It was pretty amazing. It was pretty kind of a tangent for the story, but it was a pretty good introduction to this character. very, very cool. So yeah, let's continue on the 7 deadly sins or whatever. Another character, or a less important character, is Hugo, which is right to this B plot here. Do I have any illustrations for Hugo? I might not. Oh, there it is. Like a generic, like aggressive, sportsy dude from class gets reincarnated as a prince in a new world and basically gets spoiled and sort of grows an ego and sort of goes mad with power, unlike he would in a natural environment back on Earth. It's a pretty, as I said, or as I've been sort of pointing out, a pretty central theme in this series is how the character's psychology gets warped through circumstances and how they get sort of enforced by these ill-mannered skills. So the two 7 deadly sins he manifests are greed and lust, both pretty similar things. And the reason is because of he gets a pretty nasty rivalry with this generic main character here, which is not really main character, but that's what they want you to think. He's not a particularly interesting character, but like conceptually, it's another example of how this warping psychology is a central theme. And yeah, then there's another main character, which is Sophia Keren, which is another next to the sword demon here. It's another main character on our main character's party. She gets named by D as Shiraori, but she doesn't really. It's not really though she's called Shiro, I think. Yeah, she gets called Shiro. Most of the characters. What was I on? Yeah, Sophia Keren. She manifests envy because of her relationship with Merasophis. Her relationship with Merasophis is basically, her family got killed by Potimas because she was a reincarnator. So, Merasophis looked after her after that, and she sort of developed an obsession with him, sort of like a one-sided love relationship. And the envy skill strengthened that and sort of gave her a bit of a yandere personality. There's another example, and the last is the last 7 deadly sin is gluttony, and gluttony is Ariel's skill. It is because she likes eating. That was it. I can't think of any deeper reason for it. She likes eating. I think I explained everything I wanted to explain. So yeah, that's Kumo Desu for you. I hope it goes into interesting directions from here. This is the outro. I'm going to talk like this for the whole duration of it. I don't know what else to add to the stuff I've already said. I'm not forcing myself to make more of these, but if this does well enough for me to be satisfied with it, I might continue doing these videos. So, like, subscribe. Don't subscribe if you're not gonna care, but at least share the video. I only care about interactions, like actually hearing some worthwhile input or something. Okay, thanks, bye.